Hey, 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 good morning, good morning. Hope everybody is off to an amazing day. Let's have a little conversation and a reflection on what we're all experiencing this morning, which is daylight savings time. Now, I want you to think about this. What would happen if you forgot to change your clock? If you didn't set your clock back or if it didn't automatically move back, what would happen? You're going to be either early or late to the things that you planned. So, say you were going to church this morning, um, you're going to get there too early, and so I really want us to think about what it means if you were going to if everybody else changed around you, but you didn't. And we're going to apply this to our lives because when change happens all around us, and it's happening all the time, but we don't adapt, we end up being out of sync. We end up being out of sync, just like with daylight savings time. This is not a question of whether or not you think it should happen. This is not a question of, you know, we don't have to do it. This is bad on our bodies. We have to deal with the fact that it's happening. It is happening. It is real. Right now, I'm in Central Time Zone and it's 8:01. It's 8:01 a.m. and I'm in Central Time Zone. Typically, it will be 9:01 a.m. So I can sit and I can refuse to change my clock, but it's going to impact me in a way that I may not be ready for. So I can end up showing up early for everything because if I don't change my clock, it's 9 a.m. while everybody else is operating on an 8 a.m. clock. And sometimes that's what we find happening in our lives. We are out of sync. We are trying to stay anchored in the past when things are progressing and moving forward. And I want you to just think about the consequences of how what happens when we do that. We miss opportunities, we waste a lot of time, we end up feeling stuck, we feel like nobody understands us. We feel like people are then wasting our time because while the world is moving forward, we feel like we are kind of left behind or operating on a schedule that no one respects or has any respect for. But you can change all of that. Just like today, time changed. You went along with it and you're going to get up, you're going to continue on in your day with the understanding that you now have an additional hour. And is it really an additional hour? That's another conversation for another day. But with the extra hour, let's let this be a chance for us to reset and refocus and align ourselves with the goals and dreams that we have. We have an opportunity to use this extra hour to do something that we've been wanting to do, or you can keep doing the same thing, you know, and just keep operating as if everything is the same. And so I really want us to think about, you know, the season that we're in and what happens when we're out of sync. What happens when we don't make the change that we needed to make, or we stayed the same while everybody else changed. And I want you to think about it in the broader sense of the word. Think about that job where you feel like you're no longer valued, or that marriage where you feel like it no longer serves you, or that church that is no longer feeding you. Whatever the situation is, that family relationship that is always draining for you, it's because you're out of sync. It's because the time came, you changed your clock and the other ones didn't, or they changed your clock and you didn't, and you're out of sync. And my question to you is, what are you going to do to get back in sync? That's right, Shannon. Change can be good, and it is good. It all depends on how we look at it. It can help to get us back on course, and change is always going to happen. I think of it like as if I do a lot of cruises, so it gives me a chance to sit on the cruise ship, and I look at the tides and currents, and that to me represents the changes in life. Like if you ignore the tides and the currents, your ship is going to drift wherever it goes. You're going to be off course. But if you adjust your sail and navigate, you'll be able to steer towards your destination. And a lot of us are just letting things just push us in the way that it wants us to go. It's not really taking us where it's not intentional. We are not intentionally designing our lives. We're not intentionally designing our day. We're not intentionally using our time. And so we end up just wherever it shifts us to. When I talk to people and they say, I don't want to work here, but this is what pays my bills, we're in a drift because you got to take some action to do some things. Or if you say, I'm not making enough money to pay all of my bills and really do the things that I want to do, you're just drifting. You're just drifting along because you're not making a decision. You're not taking any action. It's no different than the person who's in the miserable marriage. You're in a marriage that no longer serves you, that no longer brings you joy, that is not moving you forward, and you stay. You're just drifting along, and you're going to wait until the tide comes, and then it's going to push you in a different direction. He's going to do something or she's going to do something that's going to force you to make a decision. We have to take control of our lives. And so, for everything, there is a season, and there is a time and a purpose for everything. And when we ignore those things, it leads you to being in a situation that can harm you. And so we can't continue to resist change. We can't keep staying anchored in the past because when you do, you miss out on new opportunities. And so as we think about the change that we've endured today, you didn't ask for this change. Time changed with or without you. And you're either going to move into it or you're going to be early to everything, continuing to waste change, to waste time. And so think about, what is your purpose in this season? Where are you steering your ship to? What is your purpose in this season? So I challenge you to identify where you need to adjust your sails. What is one change that you can make that aligns you more closely to your purpose and your goals? What is the change? Let's stop allowing the tide to push us where it wants us to go. You can make a decision. Good morning, Shanita. Good morning, Pam. Good morning. Good morning. And I want us to really think about, these are opportunities for growth. These are opportunities to experience a new season in your life. But we can't have it will not happen if we continue to stay stuck in the past, if we want to only do the things that we've always done. And here's the kicker: the days are going to keep going. Life is going to keep going forward. Nothing's going to stop. You're the one who's going to be stuck. You're the one that's going to be stuck. And then it leads to the complaints. It leads to the nagging. It leads to the negative energy. It leads to the bad attitude. And then it leads to the people not wanting to be around you because all you do is nag and complain. And then it leads to you attracting more people who are just like you instead of making a decision and saying, okay, I'm out of sync. These things are no longer serving me. These things no longer work for me. And I need to do something different. And then choose to do something different. And when we choose to do something different, you will get a different result. You'll begin to attract a different type of person around you. When you begin to speak differently, when you begin to act differently. And guess what? It's going to be some people who are not going to like the changes that you've made because they want you to stay the same. Allow them to die off, allow them to move on out of your life. When we think about the weather, right now I have on one of those cozy things to keep me warm. I can't keep wearing my summer clothes in the fall as we're headed towards winter because the wind is really heavy, the temperatures are getting low. And if I showed up in the same clothes that I wore in the summertime, now I would freeze. And we're not even in freezing temperature yet, but I would absolutely freeze. We keep going into new seasons because the season is changing whether you want it to or not. You can stay the same, but the season is going to change. And so that's why many of us are uncomfortable. That's why many of us are having a hard time. That's why you feel like you can't move forward because you keep trying to stay in a season that's done and over with. We're in a new time now. We're now on Central Daylight Savings Time, CDT. We're no longer on CST, Central Standard Time. We're on a different time now. And so if you don't adapt, you can choose to not adapt. It's perfectly okay. You're the one that's going to suffer. You're the one that's going to have a hard time. The people around you are going to keep moving. They're going to keep, because you're going to be out of sync. What part of your life are you out of sync in right now? What part of your life are you out of sync in? And we all know when we're out of sync in something. We all know. You feel uncomfortable. You're always trying to force things to happen. Good morning, Dr. Ann. Good morning. You feel uncomfortable. You're trying to force things to happen. You're making decisions out of desperation. You don't feel valued. You don't feel respected. You don't feel seen. You feel authentic. Things don't go your way. There are always obstacles in front of everything that you're trying to do. That resistance is trying to keep you safe. That rejection is keeping you safe. And then we keep pushing, pushing, pushing because we want to do things the way we want to do them. When those objections come up, it's to keep you safe. We're out of sync. What are you out of sync in your life? What is the thing that you are doing or experiencing that's making you super uncomfortable? What is the decision that you need to make that you refuse to make? What is the action that you need to take that you refuse to take out of fear, out of whatever the thing is that you won't do? And how long are we going to let other people push our sail or adjust our sail? We got to take responsibility for our lives. Nobody else can do it for us. It's not anybody else's fault. We can't talk about how that job did us wrong. That's not your job. That's the job. Stop saying my job. You do not own that job. That is the job that you work that provides income into your household. And if you are not happy at that job, if that job is not paying you enough, if you are not able to do the things that you need to do, you need to take responsibility for that and decide that I am going to begin to start looking for another job or another way to bring income into my household. Point blank, period. The best time to find a job is when you already have a job. If you already have a job and you are not happy at that job, begin looking out. Begin doing what you need to do now. Don't wait until the people come and are trying to put you on a performance improvement plan. They're trying to send you over to see the union and all of this. Now you want to fight. No, fight for yourself. Fight for yourself before you get to that point. But we sit back and we allow, you know, that you're getting the messages. You know that you see that your spouse is not helping you, is not paying bills, is out here with other women. You know it. But instead, I'm just gonna wait and see what he's gonna do. I'm gonna wait and see what she's gonna do. Well, I'm gonna see if it's gonna get better. You're letting someone else push your sails. No, you this is your ship. You're the captain. And you got to make a decision. Seasons change, people. It's okay to change your mind. It's absolutely a-okay to change your mind. There is nothing wrong with changing your mind. There is no dishonor in changing your mind. What worked for you yesterday may not work for you today. And it's okay to say, I changed my mind. It's also okay to opt out. To opt out. This is a new season. We're in a new time. Right now, today, we're in a new time. And you can make a new decision to do something different, to be a different person, to live a different way, to think a different way, to attract a different type of person to you. But it does require change. And if you can honor and respect that change, you'll see that things will be a whole lot better for you. So I hope this message resonates and take advantage of the hour that you have. Don't let other people waste your time and don't use it, giving it to somebody else to try to make yourself feel valid or to try to, make yourself feel better because you are helping and supporting somebody else. We got to learn to start giving from a full cup and not from an empty cup. We keep trying to help people when we can't even help ourselves. Help yourself first. As Steve Harvey says, the best way to help poor people is not to be one of them. And some people just can't understand that. But at some point, you're going to be able to say, oh, I get it now. That's all I got. I ain't got no more. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a happy rest of your day.